While talking about the government, something that we noticed, and it was, there were hilarious memes even when there were the congressional hearings of the tech companies, that how little did the congressmen actually know about technology. And similarly, when it comes to India, we have pretty much seen two extreme approaches. Number one, we don't say anything, or we don't have any guidelines, or we end up banning companies or making guidelines which are never applicable. So, and I see this struggle happening across the globe. Whenever there is a law related to the internet, usually the civil society is quite critical about it. And it was about GDPR, it was about other laws that came up in New Zealand recently. What is your take on it? And I don't know if you've been able to hear about the Indian law which is coming, which is pretty strict in its own way.
No, I'm not aware of that. And if you could send me a link after this, I'd really appreciate it. I think it's a real struggle. I mean, quite frankly, if you are a lawmaker, whichever country you're in, and you're having to deal with the coronavirus, you're having to deal with unemployment, you're having to deal with, I don't know, changes in global warming, and the mountain of issues that regulators and politicians have to deal with is quite extraordinary. And then tack on that, all of this changing technology. There's no way on earth everyone is going to be able to keep up with that. It's partly why we do here in the US, at least, a quarterly briefing on the Hill. It's called Fosey Briefs the Hill, and we take experts. We do it virtually at the moment, but we would physically take folks from our membership, so Facebook, Google, Microsoft, these guys, as well as psychologists or consultants or thinkers, educators, researchers, to try and explain as best we possibly could the many different issues that impact particularly children and their families online. And that's had a huge, huge benefit for our lawmakers and regulators. So we have the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Communication Commission. We have various different regulatory bodies that have to take the laws that are there to protect consumers, parents, kids, whatever, and then go after the companies and fine them if they've stepped over the mark. But quite frankly, it's a never-ending task to keep trying to explain and to educate lawmakers. If there are any lawmakers watching this too, humility would not be a bad thing to also embrace. Sometimes people in positions of power want to be seen as strong and being a leader. Sometimes being a leader is to listen. In fact, that's the very first step of leadership. Listen and learn, then lead. So what can I say? Politicians are kind of similar all over the world.